He's the Goblin King, he's the Goblin King. He's not a myth, he's an actual thing. He's the king, he's the king, he's the king, he's the king, Goblin.
And that's how they should have done it, but they didn't. Because you need a disgusting goblin voice in order for it to work. In fact, I could have gone more with that, but I didn't want my parents downstairs to judge me for being a goblin. But they should have done the song like that. It's not funny if it's just a woman singing normally. It's
I know.
funny because
What a juxtaposition that she just sings like a regular person, which not like a goblin.
I guess you could say it would be a joke, but it's the fact the lyrics are like so terrible, the rhymes are so bad that then if it was like a stupid, unintelligent goblin singing, it would have been quite funny. But the goblins had no personality. And we're jumping ahead. Let's do an introduction.
Welcome to our 4th Doctor Who review for Doctor Who December.
What?
With your hosts, Joshua Francisco Mitchell and Matthew Vivian. Hello, Matt.
Hello.
Today we're reviewing Doctor Who, The Church on Ruby Road.
Yes.
Full of goblins.
It's not full of goblins. There's some goblins in a few scenes. There were not enough goblins.
I was surprised to see all the behind the scenes things and that there were people in makeup that have been enhanced by CGI.
See, I normally watch the behind the scenes with my family afterwards, but it was Christmas Day and so we had a tea afterwards. So and then I never got around to watching it. But I did see the thumbnail, yeah.
Whovian.
Well, I saw in the thumbnail, there was like people with prosthetics, which is strange because they looked to me like they were CGI made to look like puppets.
They looked uncanny, didn't they? They looked odd. Like you couldn't quite put your finger on it.
Yeah, they should have been puppets, but like the hands and the way we saw their whole bodies was like, well, this has to be CG.
Yeah.
But then their mouth movement wasn't in time. It was as if someone was like puppeteering it. Or like just, I think they're like masks, weren't they? And that someone had a real mouth.
They were masks, and the eyes popped out. So they put the mask on and then put like the black dome eyes in, I think.
Yeah, I think they could have chosen a better way of doing it. Even just doing straight up puppets like Labyrinth style, I would have preferred.
I know, but we spoke about this last week. Just hire real goblins. Like it's not hard.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, the goblin community are really underrepresented, and I thought Rusty Davis's whole thing was like representing communities.
You're part of the goblin.
Just go
community,
under a bridge. Offer him some money.
That's trolls, you racist.
Oh, I'm sorry. Where do goblins live? I guess in the sky. Offer him a baby or two and they'll do it.
What did you think?
Oh, what did I think of the episode as a whole? I thought it was good, not great. I had quite a few sort of gripes with it, but as just a bit of fun thing to watch on Christmas Day, I think it did the job. Definitely.
It was great, and it kicked into Chutie's era, which was nice.
Yeah, and Millie Gibson. I thought the two of them were both really good, and they had more than anything, they had really good chemistry.
After seeing Rose, Donna's daughter,
yeah,
in the David Tennant episodes, I was pooing myself that the acting was going to be that bad.
Yeah,
but they're great. These two are great.
They are. Well, because I'd never seen Millie Gibson in anything, but my aunt assured me from watching Coronation Street that she was like so substantially better than any other actor she was ever in a scene with, even though she was like a teenager. And she was like, yeah, it was just a matter of time before she went on to bigger and better things. And
good for her.
I've seen Ncuti Gatwa in Sex Education. Obviously, a supporting role. Well, he's like he's not like the lead, and yet he steals every single scene he's in ever since the first episode. And it was like his first big thing. Like he is incredible.
See, I haven't seen Sex Education because I feel like I know enough about sex that I don't need to learn about it.
No, that's fair. Well, I'm a Doctor Who fan, so
one.
I need to watch it in the hopes that one day I'll need to use that information.
So, how does the episode open?
It opens with like a cold open, which we later find out is set a bit later in the episode, like sort of the start of the third act. The Doctor comes out the TARDIS, watches Ruby as a baby getting dropped off at the church, and he does a voiceover talking about on Christmas Eve, I think it's 2004, but I don't think it actually says that, baby was left on the church in Ruby Road, by her mother, who we just see in a hood. Don't know who it is. It's a mystery. Presumably will get solved later in the series. It's definitely present day Ruby, let's be honest. And I don't imagine it ever being anyone else.
Wait, she gave birth to herself?
Yeah, but I mean, dropping her off.
Oh, all right.
She might be an alien that said she had no contacts. No DNA was matched. So.
Maybe it's Kevin Spacey from
Maybe
Seven.
She's a robot.
Maybe. Oh my god, there's so many possibilities.
You never know. I reckon it's Ruby though. She dropped her off. People saying it looks like Jodie Whittaker's Doctor, and like the shoes and everything does look kind of similar, but I don't know why that would be. What happens? He does a voiceover, he explains what happens, and then we go into the title sequence. Yeah, I mean, it got us interested straight away. Told us what was happening.
Yeah.
Bit expositional, but it was fine.
And then we are introduced to Millie Gibson.
Well, should we just say title
who-
sequence, same as David Tennant's one, unfortunately.
Same as one.
And
yeah,
I'm
same
not
as
a
before.
not a huge fan of that title sequence, but it's whatever.
So we're introduced to Millie Gibson's Ruby
Yeah.
and her family. So we find
And
out
Davina
that
McCall.
she is adopted, and Davina McCall.
Yeah.
Rest in peace, Davina. Something that I know we spoke about in the last couple of reviews, that the way the Doctor should be approached is a mysterious figure who pops
Yeah.
in and out of stories, and that's
Perfect.
what he does the first couple of acts of this
Yeah.
episode.
I thought they handled that so well. That's what I really like. I love in Doctor Who. I like the companion to be the lead, and yeah, they're influenced by the Doctor's life. They sort of meet him. He's a bit of a mystery. They get a bit closer with him, and then he leaves their life, and they're changed from his influence. But we don't need to know the Doctor too much as a character. I don't mind a bit of a story arc, but the lead should be Ruby, and it was, and I
Yeah.
was really happy with the way they did it. You saw like little glimpses of him, especially since like Shooty Cat was new, and I like how it didn't reference anything from the previous
I
episode.
was just about to
This
say
is
that.
such a
yeah.
jumping on point for
Yeah.
fans.
It's nice to see the Doctor not being depressed and sad and moping
Yeah.
about killing half the universe.
Just in the
He's
club.
dumped that off. He's in the club. He's throwing shapes. He's getting absolutely smashed. Good for him.
Well, I when I like first saw that in the trailer, I was like, that is. I'm not sure the Doctor really does that, but at the end of the day, he does quite often tell stories about like, oh, so I was partying with like Leonardo
Yeah,
da
why not?
Vinci and the Mona Lisa, or so. He'll just say like he will say weird things about parties that he's been at, and it's although we never see it, it kind of is in character. And someone Shooty Gatwa pointed out on it's a radio thing I watched, that the first Doctor met one of his companions, Polly, in a nightclub in the War Machines. I have seen that episode, but I don't remember that. But it does happen.
He said he had a who did he have a hot summer with?
Escapologist man.
Houdini.
Harry Houdini.
Harry Houdini.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
it's a
that
bit
was-
kinky, isn't it?
Presumably a little tease. But he's known Houdini for he's mentioned him loads of times over the years, so that must be a past Doctor.
Yes, we meet Rose. We meet her family.
Not Rose, Ruby.
Ruby, and we meet her family, and we are shown that she has quite bad luck because you see little green fingers, little green
Yeah.
hands pulling some strings around.
Yeah.
When do we see the first goblin? When they steal the baby. When the
Yeah,
baby's
like
gone.
properly. Yeah. But I do think it's weird how so obviously they're orchestrating all this bad luck. They're pulling the plugs and moving the coffees and
Yeah,
pushing the
weird
Christmas trees
explanation
over.
for all of that as well.
Well, then later on, Ruby asked the Doctor, like, so are the goblins doing this? And he was like, no, they're just using your bad luck, the coincidence of the bad luck. And so it's like, well, no, but they were orchestrating it. I thought you said, like he says later
Oh.
on that they weren't, but they clearly were. I just didn't
I
understand that.
yeah. So they kind of explain that the goblins don't travel through time or do anything like that. They ride off of coincidence to jump back in time to
Yeah,
feed on people with bad luck.
I didn't understand it, but it's Doctor Who and quite a lot of things
So
that don't make
so
any
the
sense.
higher the higher the bad luck or the higher the coincidences
Coincidence, yeah.
surrounding someone allows them to kind of vibe and make it worse and then eventually kidnap you and eat you.
But does that mean they feed off that? Because in the song it very much implies they feed off the flesh rather than feeding off. Is it just they
So-
taste nicer and they're more nutritious if they're
from what
more
I understood,
coincidental?
the coincidence that both Ruby and Lulu Bell, the
yeah.
baby, were both orphaned and
Born the same
had
day.
birthdays on the 24th of December, which is when this episode takes place. That is enough of a coincidence for them to start giving Ruby bad luck to build up enough for them to swipe the baby and try and eat
Yeah.
it.
But I don't get. Lulu Bell was meant to be born that day, right? The 24th of December. She was clearly not a newborn baby.
It's
I
like
think
one of
it's
these
just. I
ice-
think it's just very hard to cast a newborn baby.
Yeah.
Because in the episode of Sister Boniface that came out on Christmas Day that I worked on, like the baby they got for the newborn was like pretty young, but not newborn, and like
Yeah.
noticeably not newborn.
Yeah, as Hitchcock said, a bit of an icebox episode where it's great. You follow it through, and you're completely with the logic of it. But as soon as you step away and start a podcast with your friend and trying to explain what happened after the fact, it
Yeah.
kind of all you pull one rope and then the whole goblin ship falls apart.
That is a classic Hitchcock quote, yeah. No, I'm with you. See, that's my kind of problem with it, is when I was watching it throughout, I was like, this is fun. And then in the like sort of hour afterwards, while I was eating my tea, I was like, why wasn't that ever... Why did that like plot strand go nowhere? Like, why was this explained? Why did this happen? Like, it sort of did kind of fall apart a little bit.
So kind of, let's wave away the goblin coincidence logic.
Yeah.
But
how are they as villains though? Like, are they entertaining?
I thought they could have done more with them.
Yeah, they could have done so much more with them.
Yeah, so the baby gets kidnapped and taken up to the ship, and Ruby jumps onto the ladder, and the Doctor first officially kind of meets her.
Yeah.
By running along the rooftop,
running across
saying,
the
"What are
rooftop.
you doing?"
That was very Doctor-y, in a long coat.
Yeah.
Jumping on a ladder.
Why are you jumping onto ladders from the sky? And they end up going up to the goblin ship and saving the baby, and we're introduced to the Goblin Song, the Goblin Cohort, the Goblin Horde in the ship, and the Goblin King.
I was very excited when I heard goblins are the monsters, because goblins are really fun sort of fantasy creatures.
They're great.
But then they just...
Have you seen The Hobbit?
I've seen The Hobbit, and they've got a Goblin King in that too, voiced by Barry
They
Humphries.
do.
So he actually has a personality, and he talks, he says lines. Yeah,
this one just has a big mouth.
None of these like goblins like spoke. Like they're
not like mischievous and
they should have been
cheeky.
like Gremlins.
That's a goblin thing.
I mean, I kind of got the impression that this was like, almost a Gremlins parody, which would have been awesome if they were like Gremlins, where they were like absolute little shits and like indestructible because they just don't care and they're so. If they were more Gremlin-like, that would have been fantastic. But they were all just bland and just stood there.
Yeah,
didn't say anything.
Almost,
didn't do anything. They never like posed a threat.
Yeah, they need to be just kind of exclusively chaotic in everything they do.
Yeah.
They shouldn't be organised.
No.
Like they should have stolen the screwdriver or something.
Like all waiting for the baby to be eaten. I mean, I guess that's like a ritual in their culture, but like a gremlin would have just gobbled that straight up the second it saw it. And I also thought it was weird how I thought they would always be called them like goblins, and then near the end of the episode it would say like, oh, they're actually this species from this planet, and like it would say a bit more of like their Doctor Who origin. I don't mind them just being goblins, but it's like I thought they would say where they came from or a bit more. I just wanted more goblin lore.
Yeah. I mean, I read up on it afterwards, and they're from the Mind Planet.
Oh, mind. Wait, so they're mind goblins. What do you mean by mind goblin?
Yeah, Mind Goblin D's nuts.
Oh, you got me.
Oh.
I can't believe that.
We did it before, but I didn't follow up the joke, so we'll see which version stays in. So they get the baby back. The baby does not get eaten by the big Goblin King, which was a great bit of puppetry.
See, that looks good.
8 puppeteers.
Yeah, that looked like an actual puppet.
It was great. I know. Shame he didn't kind of break out and was like a big fella.
Or just said words, or orders his goblins to attack them. He just sat there like his mouth open and closed, and that was it.
Yeah, the only goblin that talked is the singing one and the one that has a line.
Yeah, there's some that sing during the song, and there's like on the baby like thing, radio
bit
thing,
of chattering.
one says like
Happy
birthday. But they didn't sound goblin-y enough. But yeah, after the goblin song, which we've already covered, should have been different.
Or if you want to make it understandable, have a joke where she's like doing a little goblin voice, and then she coughs, and then has a lovely voice.
That's a really funny joke. I've never heard
great,
that.
That's a joke.
That's a great joke. Wow, did
Thank
you come up with
very
that yourself?
Yeah, from the Mind Goblin. Do you know that?
What's mind goblin?
Something. So it's a bit more kind of explained rather than just sexy goblin, because she was quite sexy.
Oh yeah,
quite a hot one. They break out into song. The Doctor and Ruby.
I saw people complaining about that. I loved it.
It was okay.
It's
pretty good.
A bit of me right there.
Yeah.
If I were a showrunner, I would do a musical episode. I'd love them to go to a space station where it's like law that you have to sing everything, just as an excuse to just do a whole musical episode. I think what I love about Doctor Who is you can do any genre, you can do anything, and I love musicals, so let's do a musical episode, which I'm pretty sure they are doing anyway. I think episode 2 is like a lot of music in it.
So they get the baby back.
Oh well, how do they get it back? Because the Doctor has these intelligent gloves.
He does.
A new gadget.
They're not just any gloves. They're gloves that have special fingers on them that let you touch your smartphone while wearing them.
While wearing them,
that is sci-fi magic.
I don't mind them as ideas. To be fair, they use them quite well. If it was just holding on the ladder at the start, then that would be a bit naff. But they use them like 3 times. It's like, okay, well that's kind of fine then. Like, and the Doctor's been inventing. I just wish they didn't look like just regular black gloves with some cheap LED lights down the fingers. Like, they looked rubbish.
They say about Mavity again in this, don't they?
Oh,
he says Mavity.
I quite when I first heard that joke, I was like, I wasn't that sold. And then like they carried on saying it throughout the episode, and I was like, okay, this is quite funny. And like when the Doctor says gravity, and then Donna's like, what? And he goes, sorry, Mavity. That was good. And then the fact that the jokes still carried on, I think it's funnier. The sonic screwdriver was like getting a bit overused, so it got destroyed in like the first episode of series 9 with Peter Capaldi, and so he got these sonic sunglasses, and the fans were just furious. And I didn't really care, because it's like, well, they're not going to last for a long time, are they? They only lasted for that series.
And who cares?
I think that was kind of done deliberately just to piss people off. It was a bit of fun.
They get back to the flat just before Ruby's mum returns.
I thought they were great.
So did I.
Especially the Nan.
Yeah.
Just always wanting a cup of tea.
Great
I thought she was great. Yeah.
Yeah.
And trying to do a new Wilf type character, an old person who you're like, oh, bless them.
Did you say Gilf?
Oh yeah, no, well she was.
A new Gilf type
Sorry, that
character.
was a Freudian slip right there.
Yeah, they were great. I hope they show up more.
Yeah, I feel like they will,
It'd be
because like Rusty Davis's previous companions, you saw their parents quite a lot, their families quite a lot. Which I always thought was really effective, like, because when you do Earth-based like invasion stories, it means that you have like normal people who are affected by it. No, I thought that was really nice, and we got her band as well. Don't see a great deal of, but it's funny how people were like, all these like transphobes were like, oh, good, Rose has gone, and then like leads into
immediately,
straight back again. Let's just hope she has personality this time.
Let's hope that
Yasmin Finney's taken some acting lessons.
No, I thought the family were very good. Yeah, as you said, it's always nice to be able to ground these big world-ending stories rather than just having a god and a pet, I guess.
Yeah.
They're just running around doing whatever. No consequence to anything happening.
That was a lot of problems with a lot of post Rusty Davis companions, like Amy. You see, well, they're Rory, but Amy's parents are at her wedding, and then you never see them in any other scene of the whole show. You see like Clara's parents like once or twice. Like, it's just sort of like, and then Chris Chibnall's one's like fucking nothing. And so, well, Yaz, you see her family a couple of times, but no one gives a shit about them. And it was just like, this was, done well. I thought they were nice characters, both of them. Both really nice people. I care about them. I want them not to die. Oh,
that's kind. You don't want them to get gobbled?
I don't want them to get gobbled at all. And I was very happy when she got her tea at the end.
I know. That's how an arc should be done.
Yeah.
Good for her.
Because at the end of the day, I don't care that the goblins had absolutely no resolution whatsoever. As long as the Nan character got her tea, then I'm happy.
So we return the baby to the crib.
Yes.
And we think, wow, I sighed. A sigh of relief. Wow, thank goodness that's the goblins over and done with.
I can go and have my Christmas dinner now.
And then I checked the time and thought, wait a second, we're only halfway through.
For reasons that I can't remember or explain.
Yeah.
It turned into like a parallel reality. Oh, they go back in time to gobble up Ruby.
They go back in time, but the Doctor said explicitly that they can't time travel. But they go back in time to get Ruby. And the ceiling cracks for one reason or another. Yeah, and then it goes to a reality where she was gobbled up as a babby. So her mum character, who was she called, Carla? Or was that the Nan? Carla, yep.
Carla.
And the Nan was Cherry.
That's it. Carla has done like a little bit of fostering, but it's just for the money, not for the love of it. She never had like, Ruby as like a full-time daughter. Her Nan's like pretty miserable as well because Ruby's not there. There's not lights in the apartment. There's none of these photos on the fridge. And the Doctor's like, oh no, Ruby's been gobbled up. Let's go back in time and save her.
And he does. He goes back in time. Has to get to the ship, uses his glove, and pulls down the ship by the ladder.
Yeah.
Atop the church, which we saw in the opening.
And he gets what's his name?
The Goblin King.
Simon Skinner.
Yeah.
From Hot Fuzz.
He does. And then you think, wow, what happens then? What's the consequence to this ship breaking? None.
Just
it just
vanishes.
disappears.
They just put a crossfade on it, and that layer of the...
And it's never spoken of again.
No. See, I thought, like, oh, so he's impaled, that he's killed the king. That's going to make them furious. And all the goblins be running down the church, and then attack shooting out, and then something big would happen. We'd have the final act. It's like, oh, no, that was it. He just pulled the ship onto a church.
Pulled them down.
And then they vanished.
They die.
But then I thought, okay, well, then they've teleported away again. What mischief are they going to do this time? And then, well, I don't know. But they're not causing any more problems, so I guess that's the end of the episode. Doctor's got a smile on his face. Don't need to worry about them ever again. Done and dusted. Doesn't matter, we only spared one of them out of a ship of hundreds.
That's a resolution.
He doesn't even know that they killed the Goblin King.
So they're all done, and we'll never see them ever again.
No.
And the Doctor sees Ruby getting dropped off.
Picked up by a priest. And then he watches, like, her mum or the woman, like, in the cloak walk away. And I thought, oh, so he's going to go up and say, like, what the hell was that all about? And
do you see those goblins?
And we'd see who it was. And then he didn't. He was just like, well, it's her choice to abandon a newborn baby in the snow. He didn't go over and shout at her like I would have personally probably done.
Who would have done it out of the most recent Who's? Who would have run up to her and just, like...
David Tennant would have run over and yelled at her.
Yeah.
Jodie Whittaker probably would have just committed another genocide like she did everything else. She wouldn't have stopped until every single goblin was dead.
Christopher Eccleston, it would have just been an empty frame because he's not coming back until every member of the production is fired and replaced.
That's true, yeah. It just left me like, wait, are we done now? Is that
weird?
It was just,
yeah.
I think all 4 of these new episodes, I mean, my Letterboxd review was like, has Russell T Davies just forgotten how to write third acts? Because it is... So the Star Beast just ended with, you know, this whole build of like, if she ever remembers, she'll die, and because of this meta crisis thing going on, and then the resolution was her and Rose are just like, we choose to let it go, and then it just floats away and they're fine. And then the Star Beast was just,
we remembered.
It was like, oh, I got the wrong one. It's like, oh wait, I could tell that it was a fraction of a millimeter too long a wrist. So it was like, oh well, you're the fake one. So that was naff.
Great.
And then the Giggle, they just do a throwing ball contest, and the Toymaker just misses the ball, even though he can teleport and could have just gone to the bottom of the tower and caught it. And then
I think we have a title for this episode: Doctor Who and the Missing Third Act.
Yeah, that's not bad. Yeah, it's really strange because I just finished watching It's a Sin, which I've already told you, but this is for the purposes of the viewers at home.
No, you don't need to say. You've already told me.
Oh, that's fine.
You
then.
can stop.
Okay. So how would you rate this episode? No, I was going to say. So I watched 2 episodes yesterday, 3 episodes today, and I'd seen it before. I watched it when it came out. It's a Sin. Fantastic show. Honestly, like perfect. So beautifully written. I cried at the end. Very, very sad.
Aww.
Just so well done. And years also, like a couple of years and years ago, also perfect. Brilliant. Russell T Davies written sort of sci-fi with like human characters. Brilliant. So he can still do it. He hasn't lost it. It's just like, I don't think any of these 4 have like fully hit the spot for me yet. They haven't been to those quality.
Yeah, I'm still holding out hope. These are like the soft reboot.
Yeah, it's getting all the stuff out the way before we can just do an actual episode.
Next episode, it's the start of the series.
But even then, might have stuff to set up again. Probably not. No, I think when we get to episode 2, which is the Beatles and drag queen villain one,
that's
probably
exciting. Yeah.
Yeah, but
I wonder if John Lennon will beat his wife in that one.
Yeah.
That's quite cool. I mean, the trailer looked pretty good.
It did look pretty good.
We've even got Agent Smith.
Oh, yeah. Oh, God. What?
Jonathan Groff.
Don't remind me of how... Why did they just wait until Hugo Weaving and Morpheus...
Lawrence Fishburne.
Why didn't they just wait till they were free rather than filming? I have a conspiracy theory that it's because Lana Wachowski doesn't like them.
Probably.
Because I feel like it doesn't make any sense not to just wait for them to be free. Because the official story is that they were just filming something else, and and Warner Brothers just wanted to get going on it.
And you've always said that anything Jonathan Groff is in, you wish it was Hugo Weaving. Whether that's Hamilton.
Oh, Hamilton! Oh my God!
Mindhunter.
Whether it's Frozen.
Knock at the Cabin. Anything you want Hugo Weaving there.
I actually love Jonathan Groff. I can't wait for him to be in Doctor Who. I think he's brilliant.
Yeah, so the episode ends. The Doctor he pisses off, and then Ruby's like, "Wait a second, I want to get on a bit of this action," and then she runs out. And there's a character...
Well, he goes to save Davina McCall, who we previously thought was stabbed in the heart by...
That is a shame,
Christmas
isn't it? That
tree.
is a shame. Yeah, and there's a character called Mrs. Flood, who's
neighbour.
also in the mid-credit scene, which is all a bit weird.
Yeah.
I don't know what her deal is.
So she says, like, what's the matter? Looks in the camera, breaks the fourth wall like Deadpool does.
Oh my god.
And went,
Is she Deadpool?
never seen a TARDIS before. So who is she? Lots of theories. Lots of people you probably don't know, but is she Susan, the Doctor's granddaughter? Is she Romana, another
I was going to say
companion
Romana.
who was a time lady? Was it? Is she
Is she
the
Isle
master?
one?
Is she the Rani? Is she?
I was going to say, yeah.
She
Is
could
she
be
the
anyone.
lady that picked up the tooth?
Who picked up? I think that's a very real possibility, you know, because her hands.
She has hands.
She had
and a hand
white woman
picked up the
hands.
tooth. She did.
But yeah, honestly, there's no point guessing, and I hope it's not Romana or Susan because the actors are alive. So just get them back, please.
I don't know who any of those are, but
Well,
I'm going to disagree with you.
Susan is
I
the
hope she's
Doctor's
both of them.
granddaughter. The actress is still alive, and when she left, the Doctor says that he'll come back for her in
I
1964.
hope she's
He never
Susan and
has.
Romana. Roll them into one
That's
character and make them
stupid.
her. Yeah. What did you rate Doctor Who: The Church on Ruby Road?
You know what? I actually only gave it 6 out of 10 because although it was very entertaining for me, it probably could be a 7. It could be a 3.5 star because it was entertaining.
Ooh.
But it was like I just had too many issues with it. There was just too much like, but why didn't you just do it like this? Like, why didn't you just do it like this? Why didn't you do this? That it was sort of, it was kind of annoying how they missed so many opportunities. But it was good. What about you?
It was good. I liked Millie. I liked Chuti. I liked their dynamic, and I'm excited to see what's coming next. I'm
That's true. I agree.
overly big on rating TV episodes. However, when this is all done, it would be good to speak about it as an oeuvre, as a series in itself.
Yeah,
but I enjoyed it.
I think
I had a
Doctor
good
Who is
time.
like episodic. It's basically as close to an anthology as you can get without getting one. So it's kind of, I think you can rate Doctor Who episodes. I mean, there are definitely some that like retroactively are made bad because of what they do later down the line. I'm definitely excited to see more. I mean, I'm glad they've asked loads of questions. Yeah, there's obviously, who is Mrs. Flood? Who dropped off Ruby as a baby? We've got from the giggle. We've got who's the one who waits? Who picked up the Master's tooth? Like, there's stuff for us to be invested in, seeing more of, like seeing where the story progresses from here. And I can't wait to see it. Honestly, I don't think it's back to. I was expecting when Rusty Davies was announced to be coming back, it to be like the greatest thing I've ever seen again. Because after seeing, I loved his era and I love the stuff he's done since. It's not been to that, but I am excited in Doctor Who again, way more than I was
excited
over the last few years.
That is a 10 out of 10 on the Goblin-ometer for me. There were some.
Nah, the
and
Goblins
that's
were
good for me.
1 out of 10s. Goblin by name, not by nature. Well, I like the baby eating, but have you seen? I saw some like conspiracy theorists being like, so the villains in the new Disney Doctor Who thing are baby eating. Oh, the elites aren't even being subtle anymore.
You're joking.
They were like saying that is an Illuminati mocking us thing. That is why the goblins eat babies.
That's true. As industry high-ups, such as ourselves, we know that's true.
I gobble on a baby at lunch every day. Every day on set.
You nosh off a baby every day?
No, I gobble. Most of it. not all of it. The only goblin I eat is a mind goblin.
What? What's a mind goblin?
Mind goblin. These nuts.
Okay, bye.
Bye.